Good. Ok, čau, jaz bom kratek, lightning talk. Rails je domena, prihaja mislim, da čez 2 tedna bo Rails World, se mi zdi. Oh, sorry, English.
Yes, please.
Yes. I was saying Rails 7.1 is coming out in a couple of weeks, probably beginning of October. Rails World is happening and they're probably going to announce it. Just going to go through like the highlights of what's new. There's it's called Kamal now. It's a thing that 37 Signal uses to deploy, and I tried it and it's actually pretty nice. Like with Rails 7, Dockerfile now comes standard. You can also use the Dockerfile Rails gem that Fly created and maintains, because if anyone is deploying to Fly, they also do a Docker file. When you deploy to Fly, they generate a Docker file. But yeah, so what might catch you is that .env files are now ignored by default. So if you use something like .env or Farrago or whatever for your environment variables, yeah, those will now be all ignored, because the preferred way to do it is with Rails secrets, Rails credentials, I think it's called now. It's been in, I think, since Rails 6 or whatever. And .env is basically what Kamal uses for like Docker Hub secret and Rails secret, for Rails master key secret and stuff like that. So yeah, you might get caught out by that. But I recommend you trying it out. Like I deployed on Hetzner for 3.5 euros per month, and it runs and it's great. A lot of new async queries. They were introduced in previous version, a couple of them. Now there's like all the aggregate ones, like count, sum, minimum, all of that. And you can just have a separate runner for queries, and you can like call them all, and you can call them like .value and you'll get it immediately, but probably they will be, so if you do it in controller, by the time you're in view, they already have value, so that way it will be done in another thread. So ideally non-blocking. There's this config active record async query executor. You need to add that and you need to look into it. It's documented quite well. Might be useful, might not, but yeah, there's just a bunch more of them now. Common table expressions are new. If you're familiar with like any modern database like Postgres or MySQL, they all support it now. It's pretty cool. This is like a very simple example, but if you open up the PR where this was introduced, they have a lot of very interesting queries, how people use it, and yeah, it's very, very useful. Explain now takes options, which is amazing, because you don't have to do the to-SQL and then paste it in like PG CLI or whatever. You can just do .explain, and it has actually like 2 different ways you can pass it in, either just as a string or like comma-separated values. It will all just get concatenated by a string passed into Postgres or MySQL or whatever. And like with this format, you get the JSON that then you can just copy and paste into something like explain.daliba.com, and this will generate a nice like outline of your query, what's going on. Like this is the costliest one, as indicated by the $sign and by the time it's spent there. And then it's very easy to like take a deep dive, and for optimizing queries or for finding where the performance bottlenecks are, amazing. Select now accept a hash. It's just nicer, so we can do just post and hash instead of post.it, post.title as a string, so just like a nicety. There's a new thing called normalizes, and you can say like whatever you want, you just pass it the block. So in this case, email was like stripped down case. So if you pass in like a new line and all capital case, it will be stripped and down case. So you can do it this way instead of like in a validation or wherever before safe or wherever you were doing it before. Just slightly nicer. Composite keys were added, both in primary and foreign key way. Foreign key, you specify it on a belongs to. Primary, you use the new query constraints. You can also do it while creating a migration. And it's quite useful when you have many-to-many relations. This was introduced by Shopify because they have a lot of clients with orders, and this way they can shard much easier because all the client orders are just together, because Postgres and normal databases will optimize this shit, and it's great. Device is shit, as we all know, and now the authentication inside Rails got much better. Has secure password now, adds this new authenticate by method where you pass in email and password. It also has this generates token, and another thing that it does, that when users change password, they need to provide the previous password, otherwise it won't allow the change. So a lot of niceties if you have your own authentication, or if you want to get away from device. If you don't know, authentication 0 is a nice gem, which is not really a gem, as it more is like a generator. It will create all the authentication for you, and then you can delete it from the gem file. And it will use everything provided by Rails, so you don't have to do any of this thing. You just pass it in options, and it generates everything nicely, and it works great. And message pack is a new serializer. They say it can reduce payload size and can improve performance, but I don't know, maybe. I haven't seen any difference in my apps. I tried it out and I removed it because it's just what it provided. It wasn't readable, whereas something, JSON is much more readable for me, but maybe in some cases it might be useful. Perform all later is a nice thing. You can either pass it as jobs or like an array of params, yeah, it will just perform all later. So good thing about that is if you use Sidekick, it will be one Redis call instead of multiple. If you use something like good job, it will be one big insert into statement. So just reducing the I/O, always great. A new thing, Rails env local, which basically just shortens Rails development or Rails test.
Biggest one.
Yes, it's very simple, useful. Sandbox by default is an option. I would recommend you enable this in production environment, because this allows you or prevents you to do shit on anything. It's just basically what it does, wraps everything in a transaction, and it just rollbacks when you disconnect. So not good for development because you'll go crazy, but in production probably worth turning on. It supports bun now, which apparently everyone is over the moon about. I never heard about it because I'm not on Twitter, so everything goes by me. I don't know anything. But people are excited, and supposedly it's fast. So, and in case you missed it, Ruby 3.3, which is coming in December, YJIT is quite amazing. This is a QR code to a blog post by Shopify. They say in their environment it was 13% faster compared to the previous YJIT, and 15% faster than without, because 3.3 is faster than 3.2, but whatever. Tomar said the speed doesn't matter, so yeah, whatever. But our non-drama David said that for Basecamp it's 24% faster. And yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I haven't tried it yet in my apps, but yeah, 3.3 is coming, and that's really the only highlighting feature of 3.3. Not much else. They did a lot of improvements there, but that's about it. Is it ready for production? I would say so. These are two of my apps, both are running on Rails 7.1. Beta 1, because RC1 broke some things, but yeah, RC1 good to go. Sorry, Beta 1 good to go, RC1 not really. So yeah, just do it. Rails app update, and yeah, thank you.